Hello, hello, hello. We're back. We are back talking astrology. Welcome, welcome. This is G. You are watching All Astrology and Sedna. End of April, going into May, because Sedna makes a move. Sedna moves into air. So we're going to discuss a little bit about Sedna. I'm not going to go super deep dive on her because I have a deep dive. I think I have 2 videos on her. And the second one goes really deep. I'll put the link below so you can get more information to better understand Sedna. You could also do your own work and figure that out too if you want. But basically, to start it off, we're looking to find out where is 0 degrees of Gemini in our chart. Yeah, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for Gemini energy in your chart, because Sedna is going to go from 2959 of Taurus energy into Gemini. Not a real fast mover. So it's usually noticeable in the sense that when it goes to 0, 0 is a critical degree, as is 2959, right? So understanding what Sedna means will help. So let's go look at the date to understand when this is going to happen. And in the meantime, get your chart. If you don't have it, let me know. Comment below so I can get your chart to you. You need your chart to figure out, folks, how this is going to affect you in your life. Or at least, at the very least, what area of your life you can pay attention and be like, oh, shit, that's Sedna. So here it is, Sedna. Sedna. That's her symbol. You recognize it? Yeah. Gemini. 0 degrees, 0 minutes. There she is. Sedna does represent tragic stuff. It's history. It's the past. It's feminine energy. Yeah. Inuit Goddess, the icy waters. So this goes way back. Inuit Goddess. This goes way back. Ancient civilizations. So there's a lot of history here. A lot of tragic betrayal, feminine energy, like betrayal to feminine energy by masculine energy. Masculine energy was the betrayer, was the one that did the abandoning, was the one that did the, rape, was the one that just used and abused and left for dead kind of energy. Okay. So we think of history and we think of water because she's the Inuit goddess of water, the icy waters. And it's kind of, if you talk to people or even start doing a little bit of your own research and reading about Sedna, she is spoken about in ways where societies, cultures, especially people who are fisher people who will go out fishing and who know that they, it matters. They have to pay attention, especially if it's, this is the food on your table. Think back in the day before grocery stores, folks, right? They would they would make an offering, like maybe the first fish they caught, they would throw it back in and they would say, this is for Sedna, right? We want plenty, right? And this is just to say that the knowledge, the stories, the myth within cultures and the oral tradition of sharing and teaching, and even if it's the story itself that seems a little far-fetched or exaggerated or whatever, right? It's still talking about energy, which is the basic foundation of natural law. Energy just is. It's not about judgment. It's not about, you're wrong, I'm right. It just is. It doesn't care about how you feel about something. And so the energy that you hold just is. And that energy that you hold is the energy that you attract. What you put out comes back. It's a boomerang. So the understanding is gratitude. The understanding is, God, it could be a lot worse. I'm grateful for what I have. It's Sedna, right? But it has this strong history to it, a tragic history. So with anytime we talk about tragic history, we kind of always think about Scorpio, right? Scorpio kind of has that tragic history attached to it. The understanding of going through war. Mars and Pluto rule Scorpio. So this Sedna has been through some tragic stuff. And we want to better understand what happens when Sedna enters air coming out of Taurus. So if she came out of Taurus, money and values and banking in the earth, disruptions within the earth. Remember, I said, think Scorpio, think Taurus energy, or think Scorpio and Pluto, stuff that's buried deep down, stuff that's below the surface, stuff that's hidden, wounds, emotional wounds, values, right? Not everybody walks around with their values on their skin or on their feet, or they drive their values. Many people can hold their values within who they value, what they value, their self worth, their love, right? It's not always tangible. We can't always see what somebody values. Well, then Sedna makes her move and goes into air. And at this point, I will add, I don't think I said the date, but I showed it to you, April 27th. For those that weren't looking at the screen, I think I have people who just listen. And in case you're one of those people, I do sometimes have a lot of information on the screen, like I add text, and I don't always say things. So just keep that in mind that you might be missing out on stuff. On top of that, Sedna is the wounds and the tragic stuff in the past and conversations about it because she's entered Gemini. So talk, conversation, news, and a good possibility, think sibling and neighbors and coworker energy. So some folks ask the question about hurricanes, right? Like, hey, do you think we're going to have a strong hurricane season? I think it's interesting that Sedna, who can, like the stories with the sailors or people who go out on boats and have to fish at sea, the story is also that you want to kind of pay homage to her so that you have good weather because she's known to be able to create turbulent waters. Well, we think hurricanes, right? And we think, holy shit, what does this mean? So can it be that? Well, Sedna going and sitting at 0 degrees for a little bit of time, I would think that there might be some of that. Plus, it happens at the time of the year when we begin the hurricane season, right? It kind of coincides with that. Am I going to say, well, look, it's because of Sedna? Well, I think there's going to be, you know, there's a lot of things with the planet itself that things just have to be in place. And we know global warming. Anytime you have warm waters, that also makes for a more active hurricane season, right? Warm waters. So, in other words, if Sedna represents the goddess of the icy waters, maybe she'll cool the waters. Well, she's going into air. She's going into air, you know? So these are just some of the keywords. But having it in Gemini, this, like I said, is your local community. It's where you live. It's the local businesses. It's the housing market. It's the stock market, right? It's the merchants. You go into the store, your barista, the person that takes your order, like it's those people, right? And those people that serve in some way, but within the community. You go to the car wash, just think of all the little businesses that make up your community. You go to the farmer's market or whatever, all that merchant stuff, like trade. We barter and trade energy back in the day, right? Before we had the stores, we'd go into town, maybe we were knitting, right? And we would go into town and trade it for a sack of sugar or something, or whatever the heck, right? Tobacco, take our tobacco into town and get some clothing or however that worked for wherever you lived. But nowadays, what do? Well, we take cash or we take our credit card. And so there's an exchange of value. Gemini energy, really kind of how can I make money? What different ways, what enterprising ways, what conversations am I having to make money? And to be busy too. Like this is the travel energy, busy with the mind, busy with the conversations, but it's an exchange. It's taking information in and sharing it back out, right? Short journeys, so automobiles, right? Taxis, Ubers, whatever. Short trips, short journeys. It's air, so talking, communication. And Sedna sitting here. End of April going into May. Now, all by herself, sure. Maybe we'll feel it. Maybe we'll understand how Mercury is going to be affected because Mercury rules Gemini. That's going to be key. The conversations are going to be key. If Sedna represents feminine energy that's been betrayed, you can be certain that you will hear from more females. Maybe on social media, because that's Mercury, that's Gemini, social media, people posting things, people talking about what? Talking about wounds, women specifically, right? Women specifically. women and abortion rights. That's a big thing in the States here. And so the news about things like that, women feeling like, hey, this is my body. This is this is my business type of thing. Gemini is the communication and the talking about such things. But it's not going to be limited to just that. Because remember, Sedna has been betrayed. Lots of things have happened to her. When you read up on her story, gosh, you walk away and you just feel it's sad as hell. Sad as hell, her story. Because it wasn't just it wasn't just any old person. It wasn't just any old masculine energy. It was like her dad, her husband, right? It was people that you would think that are trustworthy, people that are in your inner circle, people that are supposed to be just part of your life and love you and cherish you, and to be betrayed by those people, to be hurt by those people. So it's got that kind of flavor to it. Now, Venus, here's the other piece of this, because Sedna in Gemini, Mercury is a thing, but Mercury and Venus, siblings. So we go and we look at Venus, the sibling, and we look at Mercury. So at this time, I've got an arrow on Mercury, 16 degrees, conjunct the North Node. Bodies, body autonomy, my rights, my freedoms, my independence of my body. It's mine. You can't tell me what to do with my body. You can't tell me what I can't do with my body. The talk and the communication, North Node, it's what's going to happen. It has to do with the future. Angry energy, angry communications, because it's impatient Aries. It's mad, or she's mad. She's fired up, and you've got Venus here at 27:45. She's about to hit a critical degree. So she's fired up. Even though Venus likes peace, she's in hot, fiery Aries. Venus and Mercury both in hot, fiery Aries. So the fire element adds more heat to things, right? And it's very spicy. I also have Mars drawn up on the chart with Neptune. Okay, I got Taffy, who is insisting that my arm is in the wrong place because, well, she's... I swear. There we go. Mars at 27, conjunct Neptune. The rights of the body. Mars is the body. Right. Mars. You heard me mention Mars. Mars and Aries. They'll always go together because Mars is the ruler of Aries. Okay. Anytime I mention Aries, think Mars. So that's why we're looking at Mars. Where's Mars? Conjunct Neptune. Mars at 27, Neptune's at 28. Mars will sit here like a 3, 4 day, even a 5-day period. So before this date, before the 27th, Mars was close enough to be conjunct Neptune. Neptune is sleep and dreams. Neptune is somebody who can be an official, an authority figure. What we think doctors, we think institutions when we think Neptune energy. We think hospitals, public figures. Yep. Think Jupiter. Think Jupiter. Jupiter was the ancient ruler of Pisces. And this is Mars and Neptune in the sign of Pisces. So Jupiter's going to be a thing here. Rulings, Supreme Court, rulings, judgments, federal justices. Yeah. Mars, your physical body and its actions, the independent actions, the freedom. This can also be war. Wars overseas, Jupiter, Navy, right? We think about that. Mars in Pisces, Navy. And Neptune can slow things down, but not to the degree like Saturn. More like it's confusing, it's foggy, or it can even diminish the energy, like we feel really sleepy. So we think medicine and drugs even when we think of Neptune, when we think of Pisces, substances in general, substances. All right, I already called my mom right before we started up, so we're ahead of schedule, which is great. Now at this time, Neptune conjunct Mars. I personally know for myself, yeah, I'm going to likely feel a lot more sleepy. I'm going to probably need to rest more often than I normally do. It may affect you that way. If you take anything for sleep, or if you're someone who likes an occasional drink, you may find that your level of sensitivity will be greater, much greater, will be much more heightened when Mars is conjunct Neptune. It's already heightened in Pisces. Like we're feeling pains we weren't feeling before. We take a little bit of this to kind of relax and to chill out, or a little sip of that. And it's like, damn, it just knocked me out or something, right? So substances, whatever those be, could be something in the glass, something you smoke, something you drink, however you indulge. Mars will be really sensitive. Mars, again, slows down in Pisces because it doesn't have the firepower. Sometimes we even say, Mars being soldiers, all of a sudden it's like, is this peace? Is this an end to fighting? Right? Because Pisces is surrender. Pisces waves the white flag. It's acceptance and understanding, but on a large level. On a large level. So when we back this up a little bit to look at the big picture and to see my lines, we're pointing at Sedna here. And I also have Sedna by Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus and white moon Lilith. You see this? Jupiter moves faster than Uranus. So before Sedna made this move, this Jupiter, which can be justices and supreme courts, right? It's in Taurus, so it's about values. It can be higher education. It can be airlines. Anytime I say Jupiter or Uranus can be, these can both have to do with the airlines and travel, inventions. Think of something you use as an invention, right? Whatever that thing is that was invented that all of humanity gets to use. Values, pleasure, peace, desires, banking, and money. The earth, Taurus, food. Jupiter expands on something. Jupiter's already past Uranus at this point. So I'm thinking the days before this, when we have that big conjunction, right? I have that additional video out. If you didn't see it, I'll link it below. Jupiter conjunct Uranus. It can be a lot of different things. Okay. But Uranus tends to bring along surprises, like expect the unexpected energy. So to me, I like that it's already past Uranian energy. However, it's also got white moon Lilith at 23. So these are really, truly kind of still connected. They're still connected. And then this Jupiter is going to touch Algo. You see Algo at 26? This Jupiter's 23, Algo's 26. So maybe we're feeling it already. Remember, Jupiter or Algo is intense desires, right? It's intense desires, a double star system. Think of Taurus energy again, values, desire energy, how you love, how you receive, how you feel loved, your self-worth. All those things matter. I don't know how many times I can say banking and money and finances, but we think of surprises and shocks and someone who's in charge. Uranus energy and Jupiter, both somebody in charge. Okay. So because we're talking digital and we're talking Gemini, which is social media, but it's also your phone and your device that you hold in your hand. I believe there's multiple meanings to all of this. I don't think it's just, hey, is there a likelihood for hurricane season? I think devices. I think, maybe difficulties with devices, even though Mercury retrograde is over. Mercury's still not out of her shadow zone. We have to wait for her to get beyond 27, which, look, Venus is right there at 27. And that's Mercury's shadow zone. But this Mercury is still at 16. We got to wait for her to get all the way back up here. So decisions, choices, and options. Maybe more options that things we just didn't even know could be an option. Learning and education is also Gemini. Yeah, the Biden administration talking about additional ways to provide loan forgiveness for those who took out loans for their college education. Yeah, we got some of that going on here. Sedna can be disturbing. It can be difficult. She's not a super fast mover. When she gets added to the Gemini energy like this, it's conversations, and likely talking about the past, stuff that happened from the past. So again, this is the past and this is learning. Yeah, teachers, students, grade school. Yep. And then there's that Jupiter, who is an authority figure touching Uranus. So there's more talk and communication, things about the past and the history, feminine energy. And Sedna being there means that she's going to give power to the communication for feminine energy, feminine rights, things that happened in the past, stuff about the past. Think, how can we move forward? And who is looking out for your best interest? Think, how can I talk about the past while at the same time using that information to resolve it, to learn how to accept and how to move on, and how to learn from the past. That is the power of Sedna and Gemini energy. What new options are on the table that I didn't discover before? Options, choices, and decisions. Remember, you're waiting for Mercury to get to 27 in Aries. Go watch the Mercury retrograde video to find out more details about that if you haven't already watched it. But just know that this day will probably be the day before, because this is a Saturday, so I would say Thursday and Friday before, 25th, 26th, 27th, because this Mercury was standing still for 4 days at this degree so that she could go forward. Right. And that's when Sedna makes her move. So feminine energy becomes more pronounced. Something that has to do with the past and the history and the wounds, the wrongdoings, the unfairness, and the inequality. All right? I hope you enjoyed this. This is 20 minutes, so we're done. We're calling it a wrap. Taffy's at the door. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.